anti-brainrot. That's today's topic. Hello everyone, it's Saib here. So I want to speak briefly on brain rot, which we should all know at this point what it is. I'm not really going to go into it, but I've also noticed the effects I've noticed on myself, right? So I'm one of those people where I'm actually not that much into short form media. Whereas someone like my father or even my friends, I've noticed that they're more stuck to their phones almost. But I just want to say that on brain rot, the effects that I notice on myself from the time that I was like the more time that I give it, the more my brain sort of deteriorates. I've noticed things like I struggle to formulate sentences, or my attention span is the main thing, especially. So videos that I used to be able to watch before become harder. So that's why I want to speak on anti-brain rot, which is this video's title, or it should be sort of similar, which is basically I want to discuss how we should combat uh, brain rot, especially for kids. But this applies mainly to everyone. Where I really think that everyone should have something that combats against brain rot. So if all you're doing every day, all day, is just watching shorts on your breaks, I know that we all work, but still, there should be at least something that you, whether when you drive or when you're going home, some sort of long form media. Well, I mean, you're not going to be watching shorts while you drive, but you get my point. And I just want to say that, just 1 week of doing or listening to long form media improved my brain, which is crazy because, as I said, I didn't even really use shorts for that long. So the fact that it had an effect almost immediately really shows a lot. Like my attention span is better than, let's say, 1 week ago. But I never really had this problem until I started using the or consuming the short form media. But I would say I would suggest long form media like this video, even though this video shouldn't be that long. Really try to watch any video. You don't even have to watch mine. I'm fine if you click off. But really try to watch a long form media. The methods that I use is I use podcasts. So when I drive to work, I would listen to podcasts. Whatever it may be. I would say try to find one that suits you. Don't try to find something that you think is going to make you more intelligent. If you're really not interested, it's no better than tuning someone out. So really try to find a podcast or a video essay. There's a lot of good video essays out there on multiple topics: real life, fictional, games, whatever you can think of, even scandals, right? So I would really suggest something like that. Another thing you could do too is hobbies, so arts and crafts. Maybe you sew, maybe you create art, video editing. That usually takes a bit of time as well. You usually can't really do it in like 5 minutes unless you're an expert or something, or really doing some basic stuff. Hiking is really good to take your mind off of. Yeah, I would recommend hiking to anyone. To be honest, it's pretty good. Just don't venture too far off or go off the trails. It's a really good experience. But if there's nowhere for you to hike, that's fine. Movies. I'm a movie person myself, and I found myself watching The Lord of the Rings just to watch it again. And man, it was a little bit difficult to be honest because of how long it is, but it was pretty worth it. Like movies, I would say is pretty good at combating against brain rot, so to speak. Investing, if you're into investing, though, don't don't lose all your money, okay? Or even learning, right? If you have a hobby where you learn something specific, like reading a book, or you're learning a language, like me, for example, I'm learning a random language like Russian. It really helps you to sort of utilize your brain, especially when you have to memorize vocabulary or grammar or the way you speak. That's a really good way. For example, I'm learning a little bit of Russian, so excuse me if I butcher this, but Здравствуйте, меня друг, меня зовут Saib. So there's a little bit of what I've learned so far, but not The other things that I would say too um, that helped me especially too, is that not taking your phone or using your phone during restroom time. Now, personally, I'm a germaphobe, so I really have to find myself really bored to do that, but I don't do that because I just I don't know. I don't want to get into it if in case you're eating. But to me it's just a germ kind of thing. But really taking your phone and using your phone, not only do you sort of get your phone dirty, but also you lose track of time, right? Especially if you're on break at work and you start using your phone. There was a lot of people at my work that would always do this, and you're taking up the stall for someone else who might really have to use the restroom. And also, like I said, you lose track of time, so maybe you take an extended break or something. Um, the other thing too is don't use your phone when eating out with others. This might seem like common sense or even being very respectful, but I find that some people still do it, right? But if you can really hold conversations, or at the very least not be tempted to glance at your phone every now and again, it really takes your mind off of it and gives you that sort of space away from the short form content and more toward talking to each other with longer, hopefully, conversations. But it's good for socializing too, right? So if you go out with someone, it could even be your parents. It doesn't even have to be like someone your friend or anything. But if you really go out and take out your time and don't use your phone for that long, it does make a noticeable improvement, especially when conversating. But those are sort of the things I want to talk about in terms of anti-brain rot, right? Where I think that we should not necessarily make a movement, but we should potentially start looking into ways to combat against brain rot. Because at this point, let's face it, we're not going to have the short form media content banned. There's no way, right? It's too popular, it's too widespread. Kids do it, adults do it. It's one of those things where at this point it'll be like banning alcohol, where many people consume it. Hopefully not kids, but right, I don't find it very plausible, or at the very least very um, there's no good way of going about it, especially when it's so prevalent nowadays. So if we can't ban it or reduce the time we spend on it, or force people, right? Then we should have a way to combat against it, where we should at least have reduced time. I know I just said reduce earlier, but we should reduce our time on it, right? Or at the very least have long form content, like I said, where you watch a video and you try to watch it all the way through, and don't use your phone during that time. And I know a lot of people, including myself, sometimes I find myself where I put on a TV show or something, or even YouTube in the background, and I start using my phone. That's not really good, right? I usually try to stop myself unless it's something important, like responding to like an email or something. But you want to try to watch the video all the way through without any other outside distractions, because then you're actually combating against brain rot. The whole thing with brain rot is that you're not paying attention, or you're tuning out something, or you're distracted, right? Some videos, I know a lot of videos, they use the sort of background, so like they'll put on Subway Surfers, or at least back in my day, right? But they'll put on like GTA 6 or 5, sorry. And that is a form of sort of a form of brain rot, right? Because there's multiple things happening to grab your attention. And this video is one of them, right? But personally, I see my videos as something like background noise, to where if you're working, you can listen to it. Same with driving, right? When I drive, I listen to podcasts, and to me, it's not really brain rot, because you are driving still, uh, and you are listening to the podcast. I don't know. Maybe, but anyways, I would really suggest video essays, especially if you're one of those people that you don't know how or where to start. I would say there's so many video essays on YouTube. Just find a subject that you really like: games, movies, true crime. If you really like true crime, there's a lot of YouTubers out there that they put out these 1 hour, 3 hour videos, and if you watch that all the way through, congrats, you're on track already, right? So I hope this message reaches out. Maybe we could find a solution to this problem before it becomes a real issue, which it already is starting to show symptoms, right? But appreciate y'all. See y'all. Bye.